We've seen what a full day in a pharaoh's life looked like. But before the public ceremonies and the crowds, something else happened. Before sunrise, the pharaoh woke in silence to do things few ever saw. Private rituals, strange habits. This is how Egypt's rulers prepared to face the gods before sunrise. And to see how Egypt began each day, we start in the dark, before dawn. Before sunrise, the pharaoh wakes for his morning cleansing. His room is quiet when the attendants step in. The chief of secrets of the House of the Morning runs the show. By torchlight, barbers shave the pharaoh's face and body. They say it keeps him pure, but it also keeps him smooth. Others rub scented oils on his skin and wrap him in white linen. White means purity, and probably also, don't get this dirty. A director of wig makers then sets his ceremonial wig in place. Officials bring in the crown and jewelry, one piece at a time. Even a director of royal loincloths stands ready, which says a lot about job specialization. It all happens in a private chamber called the House of the Morning. Here, the pharaoh is washed, shaved, perfumed, and dressed before facing gods and people. Meanwhile, priests across Egypt start their own dawn routines. They draw water from sacred lakes and wash in silence. They dress in clean linen and eat a small meal before the rituals. Inscriptions say, the priests did all this for the pharaoh. He was the high priest of every god, so they worked in his name. When they spoke to the gods, they said, the pharaoh has sent me. Through them, the pharaoh's purity spread across the land. By first light, king and priests stood ready, all shaven, all clean, all dressed in white to meet the gods at sunrise. But the morning wasn't over yet. The real work began when the sun touched the temple gates. At sunrise, the pharaoh walks toward the temple's heart. He goes to meet the gods face to face. Carvings show him leaving the palace at dawn, clean and shining, led by divine hands. At Karnak, Rameses II meets Khnum, who pours water over him from 2 vases. It was a spiritual rinse before the real work begins. Then the pharaoh enters the temple, kneels before the statue, and receives a blessing. It means the gods must first accept him before he can serve them. At Abydos, Seti I is shown offering a tiny figure of Ma'at to Amun-Re, promising to keep the world in balance. And inside the sanctuary, the ritual starts the moment sunlight hits the horizon. The god's shrine has been sealed through the night with clay and cord, laid there, resting in darkness. Priests chant as they wait for the first light. In solar temples, they light a small fire to greet the new sun. And as the light grows, the high priest raises his arms and calls out, "Awaken in peace, great God." The chant is meant to wake the deity and restore his life for the day. And then comes the opening. The pharaoh breaks the clay seal, cuts the cord, and slides the bolt. When the doors swing open, the god's statue glows in the lamplight. The pharaoh then drops to the floor, kisses the ground, and raises his hands in praise. He stays bowed, reciting hymns while incense smoke rises through the air. Water is sprinkled to cleanse the chapel again. Only when the space is pure does he approach the statue. His first act is to offer Ma'at, the goddess of truth and order. he lifts a small figure of her and holds it out to the god. It's a promise to keep balance in the world. Many call this the Pharaoh's most sacred daily act. Sometimes it was done in private, and sometimes it was done before a few witnesses. It confirmed his right to rule and, in their eyes, helped the sun rise again. Then the Pharaoh tends to the god like a real person. He lifts the statue from its shrine and removes yesterday's clothes. He washes it with water and incense, carefully and slowly. And with green and black pigments, he paints the eyes. Green malachite gives life. Black coal keeps evil away. He rubs the statue with sweet oils mixed with honey. They call one blend festival perfume. It's said to please the gods and make them holy. Then he dresses the statue in 4 colors of linen: white, green, blue, and red. Each shade has a job. White and red protect. Blue hides the face. Green brings back health and life. He then adds the crowns, the scepters, the crook and flail, and a wide collar. The god is ready, shining in new clothes as the sun rises. And now comes breakfast. Temple cooks start before dawn, preparing bread, beer, meat, birds, fruit, milk, honey, and vegetables. The Pharaoh offers a piece of each while saying long prayers. Incense and water make the meal sacred. The god eats the spirit of the food, not the food itself. What's left is shared. First to royal ancestors, then to other gods, and finally to the priests. It's called the reversion of offerings. It keeps everyone fed and the balance in order. And so by mid-morning, the god has been washed, dressed, and fed. The Pharaoh then seals the shrine with fresh clay and ties a new cord. He brushes away his footprints as he leaves. The world's renewal ends for now. At noon and sunset, smaller rites use only incense and water, but the real awakening always begins at sunrise. However, not all of the Pharaoh's mornings were divine. Some parts were surprisingly human. The Pharaoh's morning rituals took place deep inside the temple, away from public eyes. That secrecy left people guessing what really went on. Centuries later, a medieval Jewish story claimed the Pharaoh went to the Nile at dawn to use the bathroom in secret. The idea was that he wanted people to think he didn't need to, since gods don't. Rashi even repeated that version. However, no Egyptian record backs it up. Archaeologists say the Pharaoh had plenty of indoor bathrooms, even in the Old Kingdom. Nothing about his mornings happened by the river. He was busy with temple duties long before sunrise. The rumor only shows how strange his private life looked to outsiders. The real dawn routine was strict, but far from scandalous. The Greek historian Diodorus Siculus, writing in the 1st century BC, said every royal act followed law. Even the Pharaoh's meals and sleep schedule were regulated. The Pharaoh ate veal or duck, drank a little wine, and that was it. The Greeks thought it odd that Egypt's ruler lived like a monk in a palace. And once the dawn rites ended, the Pharaoh went to his morning council. There he met with viziers, generals, and scribes. They discussed floods, taxes, and foreign news. He gave orders and set the day's plans. Even this meeting had ritual timing and began with formal greetings. At daybreak, messengers brought him reports from across Egypt, and he handled urgent business first. Then he washed, dressed in sacred robes, and made his offerings to the gods, Afterward, the Pharaoh appeared in public. The high priest prayed for his health and virtue. It sounded like praise, but it was also a reminder to behave. So if the Pharaoh strayed from truth and justice, the gods could turn away. Sometimes, after the prayer, he sought guidance from sacred writings or signs. Yet, after all the rules and rituals, one question still remains. Why did it matter so much? Scenes from Seti I's temple at Abydos, papyri from Karnak, and even the Greek writer Diodorus tell the same story. But many things are still unclear. Did every pharaoh really do this every morning, or only on holy days while priests filled in? Texts say the officiant gave his soul to wake the god, which could mean deep faith or a good performance. The full ritual survives only in bits and pieces, and experts still argue about what went where. No one knows what the pharaoh himself felt in the dark halls, true connection or just routine. But yes, the dawn rite itself was strange to modern eyes. He washed before sunrise, entered the shrine, offered ma'at, and anointed the god's image. It was creation in miniature. Each sunrise meant order beating chaos, with the pharaoh playing his part. His first acts tied faith and power together before the day began. Still, much remains hidden. Temples keep their secrets in half-read signs, and new finds may yet show what else the pharaohs did before the world opened its eyes.